Welcome back to Klepper's Corner, the only show where global catastrophe, political dysfunction, and unchecked AI automation are delivered with a side of smug irony and a pinch of gallows humor. It's July 12, 2025, and folks, if you were hoping the summer heat would only melt popsicles and not democratic institutions or polar ice caps, well, surprise! Segment 1, Gaza's humanitarian hellscape. Let's start in Gaza, where things have gone from dire to dystopian. Israeli airstrikes have now killed over 57,800 Palestinians since 2023, and July 12 was no exception, 87 dead in a single day. At this point, seeking aid is more dangerous than enlisting in a Marvel movie. And remember when flour was a food staple, not a battlefield objective? A 17-year-old kid named Nasir was shot dead while trying to get some for his family. That's right, Gaza is now the only place where trying to feed your family makes you a military target. Israel says it's firing warning shots. Witnesses say people are being gunned down while waiting in line for rice. Somewhere in the middle is the truth. But the middle seems to be buried under rubble with no power and zero UN fuel. Hospitals going dark. Sanitation non-existent. Aid workers are being told not to enter because Israel just designated the Mediterranean Sea itself as a potential threat. That's right, Gaza is now so dangerous, even the fish need a UN escort. And then there's the grand plan, a humanitarian city that critics say is less camp of refuge and more transfer camp. Because nothing says compassion like an organized relocation effort by the people who bombed your old home. Segment 2, Russia-Ukraine Dronapalooza. Russia is back at it because apparently they looked at Gaza and said, hold my vodka. Over 620 drones and missiles were launched in a single night. Ukraine's Air Force is working overtime, shooting down more projectiles than an NFL defensive line in a Red Bull ad. Even Putin's bombs have bombs now. But Ukraine isn't just playing defense. They're striking deep inside Russia, hitting drone factories, missile depots, and whatever the Russian version of an Amazon warehouse is. The message? If you can't stop the war, bankrupt it. Zelensky's begging for more sanctions, air defense systems, and ideally, a planet where Russia doesn't have access to drones. The only thing escalating faster than the war is my anxiety. Segment 3, Turkey says goodbye to decades of bullets. Over in Turkey, we've got something rare, peace, or at least the PR version of it. The PKK, the Kurdish militant group fighting Turkey since the 80s, just held a bonfire/weapons ceremony that said, we surrender, but make it theatrical. Erdogan called it the end of a painful chapter, though he insists it's not the result of any negotiations. No deals, no bargaining, just 40 years of bloodshed suddenly cured by vibes? PKK says they're switching to democratic politics. That's code for we're tired and TikTok is more fun than insurgency. Meanwhile, Kurdish politicians are calling for real representation, which in Turkey is about as dangerous as smuggling fireworks across state lines. Segment 4, Trump tariffs and diplomats fired, America first, allies optional. Back in the U.S., President Trump has decided that if America's going down, we're taking the global economy with us. He's dropping 30% tariffs on Mexico and the EU because nothing screams economic genius like starting a trade war during multiple global crises. He's also gutting the State Department, laying off over 1,300 employees. According to Trump, diplomacy is overrated. Why talk when you could just shout into a Twitter clone from your bunker? Experts are calling it a catastrophic blow to national interest, but Trump supporters are calling it a bold move for sovereignty. I call it a great way to make Canada look like a stable geopolitical powerhouse. Segment 5, Texas underwater. The real problem isn't the water. Texas is flooded again. This time, 129 people are dead and 150 are still missing. Survivors describe it as a pitch-black wall of death, which also happens to be the name of Trump's new immigration policy. Warnings were issued, but nobody evacuated because apparently we still treat flood warnings like horoscopes. It's not that we didn't see it coming, it's that we didn't want to move our campers. The solution? More warning systems, because if a tsunami is coming at you at 60 miles per hour, what you really need is a push notification. Segment 6, Europe cooks while climate laughs. Meanwhile, Europe is on fire, literally. The UK hit 34 degrees Celsius, which in American is, oh my God, cancel everything. Over 260 heat-related deaths in London alone, and 170 of those are directly linked to climate change. Not indirectly, not probably, directly. Like climate change was holding the hairdryer itself. And here's the kicker. This kind of heat wave is now expected every 6 years. Used to be once every 60. The planet's heating up faster than a political debate on Twitter about sunscreen. Hospitals are overwhelmed, roads are melting, and power grids are wobbling like a nervous Jenga tower. We've entered the climate version of a midlife crisis, except instead of buying a Corvette, Earth is spontaneously combusting. Segment 7. AI is coming for your job and your retirement plan. If you're watching this show from work, don't worry, AI is probably learning your job as we speak. 78,000 jobs disappeared this year thanks to AI. That's right, even your company's HR bot is about to be replaced by ChatGPT's evil twin. Ford's CEO says half of all white-collar jobs are toast. Writers, coders, analysts, HR departments, and legal researchers gone. Turns out the robots aren't taking over by force. They're doing it by being 10% faster and not needing lunch breaks. The solution? Learn new skills like machine learning or panic management or how to write jokes for robots. Segment 8. The mystery of the Air India switcheroo. In tragic aviation news, a preliminary report says both fuel control switches on Air India Flight 171 were turned off 3 seconds after takeoff. The pilots apparently had a "did you do that? No, did you?" moment, like two roommates discovering an empty milk carton. No sabotage, no bird strike, just a very bad switch and a worse day. And yes, the airline ignored a 2018 FAA bulletin warning this exact thing might happen. Because nothing says safety like strongly worded but non-mandatory. Segment 9, luxury bags and scandals. The world keeps spinning. And finally, some culture news. A beat-up Birkin bag just sold for $13 million. Yes, it was scuffed. No, that didn't matter. Because in a world on fire, we still need our overpriced leather purses to remind us of status. Meanwhile, James Gunn's new Superman movie crushed the Indian box office. Justin Bieber is monetizing paparazzi harassment for album content, and Bella Thorne says Charlie Puth started a hate train. I'm not sure what any of that means, but I know it involves at least 3 lawsuits and a TikTok war. That's it for this week's roller coaster of global insanity. Whether it's floods, fires, drones, tariffs, or AI bots turning your resume into mulch, remember, reality is stranger than satire and slightly more depressing. Stay hydrated, stay informed, and stay skeptical. See you next time on Klepper's Corner.